In 1983, buried inside a classified U.S. Army intelligence report, one lieutenant colonel calmly explained how human consciousness could detach from the physical body, travel anywhere in the universe instantly, even transcend time and space itself, and meet the infinite. And the Central Intelligence Agency wanted to know if he was right, and the method wasn't drugs or machines. It was a set of audio tapes. Almost 40 years later, those same secret tapes went viral. Millions of people claimed they left their bodies, saw the future, even spoke to God. The internet called it the CIA's Astral Projection Manual, but the truth is stranger than the meme. Because the CIA didn't just read the report. They sent their own officers to train with the man who created it. This is the real story of the Gateway experience. What if everything you were told about reality was a lie? In the 1980s, the US intelligence community spent millions trying to prove that human consciousness could escape the body, bend reality, and become the ultimate spy. They called it the Gateway process. This is the true story they tried to bury for 20 years. It began with fear. In the 1970s, US intelligence received alarming reports. The Soviet Union was spending millions on psychic research, telekinesis, mind reading, remote assassination. Congress was briefed that the Russians might be 10 to 20 years ahead. The phrase psychic arms race entered classified briefings. America had to catch up or be left defenseless against weapons that attacked the mind itself. At Stanford Research Institute, physicists Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ began the program that would become known as Stargate. Their star subject, Ingo Swann, remote viewed a ring around Jupiter in 1973. 6 years before NASA confirmed it existed, but viewing distant planets was only the beginning. Military viewers kept reporting the same problem. Their consciousness would bounce or get stuck. They needed a reliable way to leave the body at will and stay coherent. That's when a former radio executive with a very strange story walked into the picture. His name was Robert Monroe. In 1958, he began spontaneously leaving his body. By the mid-1970s, he had developed patented audio technology that could induce the exact same state in anyone. Intelligence officers started asking a question that once would have ended careers. What if Monroe's tapes were the missing key to operational psychic spying? While the Soviets tried to force psychic ability with drugs and electromagnetic fields, Monroe claimed gentle sound patterns could do it safely, repeatably, and in weeks instead of years. In 1978, the Army's remote viewing unit at Fort Meade began quietly testing Monroe's tapes. Remote viewer number 001, Joseph McMoneagle, reported the strongest out-of-body experiences of his career using them. Word reached Langley. By 1983, the Army ordered a full scientific and operational assessment. One lieutenant colonel was sent to the Monroe Institute for 7 days. What he wrote in his report would stay classified for 20 years and change thousands of lives when it finally escaped. This isn't the story of a guru or a cult leader. This is the story of a successful, skeptical, 1950s radio executive who accidentally discovered he could leave his body. Robert Allen Monroe. Bob, to everyone who knew him, was a classic American success story. Glider pilot, speedboat racer, produced over 5,000 radio programs, made a fortune, lived in a mansion outside New York. He was the last person on Earth anyone expected to start having out-of-body experiences. In 1958, with no drugs, no meditation background, no warning, Monroe began spontaneously leaving his body. For months, he thought he was dying, or going insane. Doctors found nothing physically wrong. Then he realized it only happened when he fell into deep relaxation to cure his ulcers. He started keeping meticulous notes, hundreds of journeys. He met deceased friends, visited other realms, even encountered intelligent non-human entities that seemed to be waiting for him. In 1971, he published it all in the book, Journeys Out of the Body, the first serious, non-religious account of astral projection in the modern West. Instead of becoming a mystic, Monroe did what any good engineer would do. He tried to make the experience repeatable in the laboratory. Working with psychoacoustics researchers, he discovered that specific binaural beats, different frequencies played in each ear, could synchronize the left and right brain hemispheres and trigger the exact same state he experienced spontaneously. He patented the process in 1975 and called it Hemi-Sync. For the first time in history, ordinary people with no prior talent could reliably reach focus 10, mind awake, body asleep, in under 30 minutes. Word spread fast, including to certain three-letter agencies. Monroe never claimed to be special. He always said, "If I can do it, anyone can." He hated the word spiritual and refused to start a religion. He just wanted to explore, and he invited the U.S. intelligence community to come explore with him. Little did he know, his tapes were about to become classified technology. This is where it actually begins, not with spies or secrets, but with you lying down, headphones on, in a dark room. The core technology is called Hemi-Sync, hemispheric synchronization. By playing slightly different tones in each ear, the brain creates a third binaural beat that drags your brainwaves down into theta, the exact frequency Monroe left his body at. The Institute turned this into a 6-week progressive training course still sold today.
You are now in focus 10. Sense the energy around you. Time is no longer relevant. You are now at the edge of the time-space dimension.
Each wave contains 6 to 8 exercises. By wave 6, you are supposed to be able to leave your body at will, heal yourself, manifest objects, and even meet the higher self. The military only cared about the first 4 levels, because that was enough to turn a soldier into the ultimate reconnaissance tool. Thousands of civilians paid to attend the week-long residential program. Many reported meeting deceased relatives, downloading entire books of information, or watching their consciousness expand into a giant glowing torus, exactly like the diagram that would appear in the classified report. The civilians were seeing the same things the Army wanted to weaponize. The only difference, the civilians were doing it for personal growth. The intelligence community was doing it to see through walls on the other side of the planet. These exact tapes, unchanged for over 40 years, are still sold on the Monroe Institute website today. Anyone with $500 and a pair of headphones can do what the CIA once classified. But in 1983, one Army officer was ordered to find out if the claims were real, or the greatest intelligence delusion of the Cold War. June 9, 1983. Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonnell, U.S. Army Intelligence, submits a report with one of the strangest titles in CIA history: Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process. What follows is 29 pages of quantum physics, Eastern mysticism, and instructions for leaving space-time, written on official letterhead. McDonnell didn't just read about it, he completed the entire program himself. McDonnell concludes that all of these are theoretically possible, and some were already being demonstrated by Monroe graduates. When this page resurfaced in 2021, TikTok lost its mind. But the real shock is the final paragraph. Translation: it works. Keep funding it. And then, the strangest sentence in any declassified U.S. military document ever written. This is not a New Age pamphlet. This is a U.S. Army intelligence officer writing in 1983 on official stationery, After spending a week leaving his body in Virginia, the report was buried for 20 years. When it finally escaped in 2003, almost no one noticed. Until 2021, when the internet discovered that the CIA had accidentally released a manual for talking to God. The report wasn't just theoretical. The US military and CIA didn't wait for McDonald's conclusions. They were already inside the program. Joseph McMoneagle, remote viewer number 001, the most decorated psychic spy in Stargate history, was one of the first military personnel sent to the Monroe Institute. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, he trained there extensively using Hemi-Sync tapes. He later described the Gateway exercises as producing the strongest out-of-body states he ever experienced, stronger than anything achieved through standard coordinate remote viewing protocols. McMoneagle became a regular at the Institute. He even helped refine techniques and later taught remote viewing courses there himself. For him, Gateway wasn't fringe. It was operational enhancement. He credited it with improving his accuracy in locating Soviet subs, hidden facilities, and even, allegedly, the Ark of the Covenant. Skip Atwater, operations and training officer for Stargate at Fort Meade, also attended Gateway sessions. He worked directly with Monroe to adapt Hemi-Sync for military remote viewers. Atwater later became research director at the Monroe Institute and has spoken publicly about how the audio technology accelerated entry into non-local consciousness, states useful for intelligence collection. Declassified records and former staff confirm CIA officers attended closed Gateway seminars multiple times between 1979 and 1985. All participants were under strict non-disclosure. The goal wasn't enlightenment. It was to test if trained operatives could reliably project consciousness to denied areas, influence events remotely, or gather intel without physical presence. While Stargate focused on controlled remote viewing, Gateway offered something wilder: spontaneous OBEs, contact with non-physical entities, and direct access to what the report called the absolute. The military didn't adopt it wholesale, but they didn't dismiss it either. They experimented quietly, because in the psychic arms race, no edge was too strange to ignore. By the mid-1980s, the lines between spy agency and consciousness research center had blurred. What started as Cold War paranoia ended up funding one of the most unusual training programs in American history. And when Stargate officially shut down in 1995, the tapes didn't disappear. They just went civilian. In 1995, after more than 20 years and millions of dollars, the CIA commissioned review concluded Stargate had no reliable intelligence value. The program was shut down, declassified, and quietly buried. Remote viewing was dismissed as unproven, but the Gateway tapes? They didn't need government funding to survive. The Monroe Institute continued operating as a private nonprofit in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains. They kept running the exact same Gateway voyage programs, now both in-person residential retreats and virtual online versions. As of 2025 to 2026, thousands still attend annually, paying $1,000 to $2,000 for week-long immersions using the original Hemi-Sync audio technology. The 1983 report itself sat mostly unnoticed after its quiet declassification in 2003. It was available on the CIA's public website for nearly 2 decades, gathering digital dust, until around 2020 to 2021, when TikTok users rediscovered it. The Gateway tapes trend exploded. Millions watched clips claiming out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, or profound spiritual insights. Some called it the ultimate life hack. Others warned it was dangerous. The Monroe Institute saw a massive surge in interest. Online sales of the digital audio sets skyrocketed, and the program remains fully active today. Today, the Gateway experience is no longer classified or fringe. It's a mainstream consciousness tool used by meditators, psychonauts, even some former military personnel who credit it with personal breakthroughs. The Institute continues to host Gateway voyages, advanced programs, and research into expanded awareness. No new government involvement has surfaced since the 1980s, but the tapes are more accessible than ever. What started as a Cold War experiment in psychic espionage ended up as an open-source journey available to anyone with curiosity and $500. The government walked away in 1995, but the gateway never closed. It just waited for the world to catch up. So after all the history, the declassified documents, and the viral hype, does the gateway experience actually work? Can regular people leave their bodies, access non-local information, or experience what the 1983 report promised? The short answer: thousands say yes. Science says maybe. Skeptics say probably not.
I saw my childhood home from above. Felt like I was really there.
Met my deceased mother. She told me things only she knew.
On forums like Reddit's RR Gateway Tapes, over 100,000 members as of 2026, people share hundreds of stories. Veridical out-of-body experiences, precognitive glimpses, profound healing, encounters with guides, or the absolute. Many describe the toroidal energy field exactly as drawn in the 1983 report, without ever reading it.
Gateway accelerated my RV hits dramatically.
We've had doctors, engineers, even former CIA personnel come through. Many report life-changing insights.
I healed chronic pain in Focus 15. Doctors can't explain it.
Some testimonials come from credible sources: ex-Stargate participants, medical professionals, and scientists who've gone through the program. The Monroe Institute collects anonymized feedback showing high rates of reported expanded awareness, reduced anxiety, and perceived non-local perception. Skeptics point out, these states strongly resemble lucid dreaming, sleep paralysis, or deep meditation. No large-scale, double-blind study has verified remote viewing or OBEs under controlled conditions since Stargate ended. The CIA's own 1995 review found no actionable intelligence utility. Many experiences could be explained by powerful suggestion, the brain's pattern-seeking nature, or neurochemical changes from prolonged theta waves. Today, independent researchers are quietly studying Hemi-Sync again, measuring brain coherence, heart rate variability, even claimed feci effects. Results are mixed and preliminary. But the program persists because, for many, the subjective experience is undeniable and transformative, even if it can't yet be proven in a lab. Whether it's accessing universal consciousness or harnessing the mind's untapped potential, Gateway forces the same question the CIA asked in 1983. How much of reality are we missing because we refuse to look beyond the physical? The only way to know is to try it yourself. In the early 1980s, the United States government, through the Army and the CIA, quietly asked one of the most profound questions humanity has ever posed. Is consciousness limited to the brain? Or is the brain just a receiver for something far larger? They spent millions exploring remote viewing, psychic espionage, and altered states. They tested audio tapes designed to free consciousness from the body. They wrote classified reports concluding it might be possible to transcend space-time, to contact the infinite, even to survive death with awareness intact. Then they walked away. Today, those same tapes, unchanged since the 1980s, are available to anyone. No security clearance required. No million-dollar lab. Just curiosity, a pair of headphones, and about $500. Thousands keep going through the Gateway experience every year. Some report nothing but relaxation. Others describe realities that match the 1983 report, word for word. The government classified it for 20 years. Now it's on YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok. Maybe the real Gateway was never about astral projection or psychic spying. Maybe it was about asking whether we are more than meat and electricity, whether reality has layers we've been trained to ignore. The CIA tried to weaponize consciousness. In the end, They democratized the question.